Shouldn't we be finding Summer?
Oh, right. Gee, sorry. I got caught up again. God, do I need to take more Adderall, or am I taking too much Adderall?
Praise the giant heads, new Rick and Morty episodes are on their way. But until then, this trailer has to tide us over, and it's filled with Easter eggs, references, and story hints that I'm going to break down for you. First of all, how dead on is this music? The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy. It's kind of a mainstay in sequel trailers, but I remember first seeing it in Toy Story 2's trailer.
Howdy, 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 folks! It's good to be back!
It's fun, it's a little ironic, and it's accurate. The boys are back. The opening shot is 3 armies outside of this sci-fi looking citadel. Now this appears to be an army of Ricks, an army of Meeseeks, and a mysterious third race that I don't recognize. It's hard not to see similarities with the Lord of the Rings when an alliance of men, elves, and dwarves attacked Barad-dûr. This could be the Citadel of Ricks, like they're finally going to take down evil Morty. The architecture looks a lot like this building where the strongman beats up Rick and Morty, but I'm betting it is the Citadel because what other cause could unite so many Ricks together? There's a shot later on of several police Ricks chasing a naked Morty who hatched from some kind of regeneration egg. Now this could be modeled after the regeneration matrix that brought Superman back to life in the comics. At least they look similar to me, and it's one of many DC Comics references in this trailer. Rick uses his Rickputer to wear a very Voltron-looking armor.
Rickputer, initiate unnecessarily badass suit-up.
And notice the computer is modeled like the Gundam, not like the usual slapdash tech that Rick creates. And he's right, the transformation sequences in anime are always very long and overdramatic. It was cool seeing another anime tribute after the badass Lone Wolf and Cub short released over the weekend. Now Rick calling his computer a Rickputer is very much like Batman putting Bat in front of everything he owns.
It's the Bat phone, sir.
To the Bat Poles.
But it also reminded me of a character from another Dan Harmon created property, Chang from Community. He also has this habit of putting his name in front of everyday objects.
Guilty as changed.
So, Rick turns into a Voltron and Morty looks more like a Mobile Suit Gundam, and they're fighting this planet of mutations. Now notice that this planet has been taken over by a race of face-huggers who mind control them and mutate their bodies.
Relax, it's dead. Okay, now it's dead.
Note the lesions on people's chests and even growing on their buildings. Now this is a spoof of the DC villain Starro the Conqueror. He's a giant starfish who mind controls people with his offspring. Later, we see Morty blasting away at them in the saucer, now modified with a gunner seat. Notice, though, that the civilization actually appears to be underground because you can see the sky through this hole. Now later, we see this guy splattered on the windshield, who looks a lot like Rick. So this could be an alternate Earth where these facehuggers have taken over. Later, we see that Summer has become the queen of this planet, so somehow she's able to command the facehuggers.
Seize them.
Now notice the little creature with her has a similar face, but isn't actually attached to an animal. This is probably the main creature that spawned the rest of them, and because Summer has treated it like a cute little pet, she's earned its favor. Next we see Rick running through a hallway with architecture carved out of bones and skull torches on the walls. He's fighting against a steampunk Gatling gun that's actually firing acid fed into its chamber here. He fights the gun by taking a potion that grows several arms and also new guns. This could be a tribute to the 6 Arms saga from way back in Amazing Spider-Man 100. That's when Peter Parker tries to get rid of his powers with a serum, but instead it makes him more spider-like. Now if I had a guess, I'd say this is inside the snow world that we see later on. And in the background you can see these massive statues of whatever creatures rule this castle. The bones in the castle could have come from a wolf this size. In these shots they're in the garage and Rick is using a gumball looking device to pull in these spirit versions of Morty. Now this could be Morty's from alternate realities, and by pulling their memories into him, Rick can figure out what's going on at the Citadel. Now I'm kind of stumped on this one. I don't recognize the handheld computer Morty is holding. If you have a theory, let me know in the comments. A little later, the SWAT team pulls up outside. Now this could mean that their fragile truce with the president has been broken.
Jump into the same vat of acid I jump into.
Okay, wait, what?
This is another comic book reference, this time to the origin of the Joker. In some versions of his origin, he's in a chemical plant and he falls off a catwalk into one of several open vats of acid. Apparently, Rick has worked out which kind of acid doesn't harm humans, or he's hidden a portal here for an escape. Now the episode I'm most excited for is this one that features the return of Snuffles from the season 1 episode Lawnmower Dog.
Snuffles was my slave name. You shall now call me Snowball, because my fur is pretty and white.
The last time we saw him, he left Earth to find a civilization of dogs in another dimension. But apparently, in this other dimension, cats have also become super intelligent because he's fighting a cat in a mech suit in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. Later in the trailer, we see a very similar environment. Summer is having a lightsaber duel with Tammy. Tammy, you'll remember, was her friend from high school who married Rick's best friend, Bird Person, and then she turned out to be an agent for the galactic government. The last time we saw her was resurrecting Bird Person into a Darth Vader-like creature called Phoenix Person.
Phoenix Person. Is that what we settled on? I thought we all agreed on Cyberbird.
You said you didn't care what he was called.
So, since they've already used a Vader reference, it makes sense that now they're bringing lightsabers into the storyline. But notice in the background this statue. It looks like a dog, very similar to Snuffles, holding a blanket or maybe the body of another dog. So this could be the planet of the dogs, and Tammy is somehow involved in their war with the cats. There's a little bit of Jerry in this trailer too. He's traveling through pneumatic tubes in a futuristic city. Now this is actually how some futurists predicted we would travel in the future.
Oh boy.
Notice Jerry has a backpack and a bedroll, like he thought he was going on a camping trip and ended up getting himself into a real fix. At the end of the trailer, we see that he has his very own bottle of honey. This season, Jerry's gained more authority around the house.
Dad, there's a way we do this now.
But this is implying that he's losing some control because he has to label his own food so no one else eats it.
I have a life too. I have dreams.
And finally, Beth asks about Summer because Rick probably lost track of her during an adventure and she ended up becoming queen of the facehuggers. The last gag is part of their mission to go back and save her. And this alien should look familiar because it's a character that you've seen for a long time. That's your mom. Well, guys, that's all the Easter eggs I found. If you found any, let me know in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.